the cloud. Okay, so we'll get started. Bonjour, everyone. Welcome to our National Coalition meeting for today on March 4th. Happy Friday. Hope everything is going well in your continued success or your recent reopenings and everything that's happening in your province. I'll show you what our agenda is for today. So we'll go through this. We've got Chris Gray that's joined us again today, who will let us know what's happening in the updates for government lobbying. Sarah's going to take over then for a good while, sharing a new opportunity starting in April for members and non-members to join these calls, our subsidy survey that is very, very important, and then the THRP survey that's also very important. Carl will let us know the phenomenal financial discussions as our national treasurer he's had over the last couple of weeks with all of our provincial leads, and then hopefully we have time for me to get you guys excited about June. Is what Trish asked me to do. And I'm like, I can do that. I can get people excited about summer when we're right in March. And so we'll get started with you. Hold on. There we go. So we'll get started with Chris. I'll go ahead and mute myself.
All right. Thank you, Natalie. And hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm on my phone here. So just a few things. And it has been a very busy time here for us on the government relations side lately. And Sarah, feel free to chime in as well. So between Sarah, me, and Trisha, we've been busy finalizing the 2022 federal budget submission. So this is a separate submission process that the finance department held, and that closed on the 25th of February. So we made sure that we put in a submission there around the three priorities right now of the medical exemption deduction, the incentivizing fitness through other jurisdictions such as Japan and Singapore that have done a good job in helping their fitness facilities, as well as we're asking for a direct economic stimulus package. So those are the three elements of the pre-budget submission. We also have had a couple of good meetings recently. We met with a policy advisor in the Prime Minister's office to let him know about what we are looking at, and he was quite interested in learning more about it. He was very interested in learning that we weren't necessarily coming looking for our hands out, but we were looking to work with the government to get Canadians healthy. And he was looking for some of the polling information that we've done before, asking Canadians about their interest in fitness and when and how they would return once the pandemic is winding up. We also had a meeting with MP Anthony Housefather. He is from Montreal. And he used to be a member of the what they called the Fitness Caucus. So he's a former competitive swimmer, had some good suggestions for us. And one of it was to have get a letter signed by a number of Liberal MPs, as many as we can. So that is what we've done. Trisha drafted a letter, and I've been shopping that around with a number of MPs to get them to sign that we can show the government that there is definitely support from the government caucus on this on our budget asks. And then even just yesterday, I did some outreach to the finance minister's office. I was texting with someone I know there and reiterating our requests to him yesterday. So that's about it. It's actually a fair bit of stuff going on, and more meetings will be coming up. We have a number of meeting requests out there for a number of MPs that have either supported what we've been thinking about or have supported National Health and Fitness Day and should be supporters of fitness, obviously, moving forward. So we'll keep you posted on those meetings as well. So I'll turn it back to Natalie and Sarah. And Sarah, you can jump in if I missed anything.
Thank you. And Natalie, do you want to roll the presentation? Then I can kind of go through the...
I'll pull that up. I was going to see if anybody had maybe questions for Chris before we did. No? Okay. Here.
Amazing. Okay. So just to review our goal as an association again, over the next 5 years, we want to have 10,000 fitness businesses across Canada have their businesses at least registered with FIC. And by the end of this year, 2022, we want to have 1,000 businesses in our business association membership, which leads us to our next slide, which shares that we are almost at the 700 member mark. And so we've made significant strides just in the last couple months here, and are continuing to do so. And we have some meaningful discussions with some, fitness chains and clubs also that should be closing up shortly and will impact our numbers. So welcome to our newest FIC members. Fitness World out of British Columbia has 15 clubs. And so welcome to the Fitness Industry Council of Canada, as well as Gestion Club Fitness. I probably completely said that name wrong. If someone wants to correct me, I welcome the correction. With one club, welcome. We are just so pleased to advocate, and we're just so passionate about having everybody come together, because we are proving day in and day out that our strength in numbers has been meaningful to the traction that we are getting from coast to coast here in Canada. So thank you. All of your memberships mean a lot to us. So Chris went over all of these government lobbying points. I will share that when we met with the Prime Minister's office, I think some strengths that came out of that conversation were that, first of all, I think that our presentation was very well received. There was a lot of positivity, as well as an encouragement or a challenge for us to really, moving forward, focus on the healthcare of Canadians, and the belief that that approach will be the most meaningful approach to move this forward, and not necessarily abandoning the devastation of the fitness industry, but repositioning and recalibrating our conversation to really focus on the physical and mental health of Canadians. We have always been doing that, but we have always led with how the fitness industry has been so devastated. And so the challenge there was to really lead with an overburdened, overwhelmed, and fully saturated healthcare system. Fitness has always been there and will continue to be there, and what is the role that we can play for Canadians, and that this is an easy win for Canada. So I really liked that part of it. So. And thank you, Chris, for all of your updates there. I believe that our letters to the Liberal leaders is really our next big push here to get traction and to move this forward for a really meaningful step that will get us closer and closer to getting our tax deduction approved. So our new FIC national meeting structure, we were hoping to start it this month, but we're going to start it next month in Trisha's absence today. She had a big presentation, so we are going to start that next month. Again, that is where we will have the first half of the meeting with some updates that any fitness business across Canada is welcome to. And then we will move into a members only component of the meeting. So you will be receiving 2 Zoom links. So please don't be confused by that. Apologies for today's Zoom mix up, and I'm sure that there's some people who are still potentially sitting a little bit confused, but we were doing our best to try to just get everybody onto the call. So starting next month, we will have this 2-part call starting. So please look for those 2 links next month. I'm also going to, on that previous slide, in the new meeting structure, and we spoke about this last time, we are moving away from doing provincial updates on our national calls. Your provincial updates will be in your provincial coalition meetings, which most of them happen on the offset bi-weekly structure as this meeting. But in your province when they happen. And so there won't be provincial updates in these meetings. We are going to really focus our time here on our strategic priorities as an association, so that you don't have kind of overlap map and that you have meaningful national content, as well as what is happening and being activated at a provincial level. So no provincial updates on these meetings. So there's two things that are really important for our advocacy efforts. They're questions that we continue to get. And one of the things that you'll remember when we presented our strategic plan for 2022 was we have to be excellent in collecting data. And in collecting that data, it means that we all have to participate. And so we have two surveys going on. One is the federal and provincial subsidy eligibility. We simply want to know, have you been eligible for federal subsidies or provincial subsidies? It's a very quick and easy survey. The link is there. Maybe someone can pop it in the chat also. It's been sent out in emails. We are very grateful for the number of responses that we do have, which I can bring up is quite a few. I just had it up here in my phone.
They're here, Sarah, I think.
Oh,
Sarah.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Thank you.
What you mean?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So this is the results that we have thus far. And I think it's just, again, continuing to be powerful because there is the assumption from the federal and the provincial governments that we put a subsidy out, people must be eligible, they must be getting this, we don't know what the problem is. And we're having a little bit of a left-hand, right-hand conversation where, you know, provincial subsidies are saying, well, we just have to give a little bit because really we know that the federal subsidies are, you know, filling your pockets. And if we're able to say, well, no, this is the reality of it, this is the data that we have, then I believe that we will, again, we want to ensure that some of these subsidy programs are continued. We want to be able to go back and ask for forgiveness of, for example, CEBA loans and you name it. We need this data in order to do that though, because or else it's kind of like, we're powerless in saying we think it'll be helpful because we think people didn't get the subsidy. So thank you for continuing to share that. If you are a multi-location brand, please ensure that you either allocate per location or for all of your locations in the answers there. We know that it may, you know, especially for franchise systems, this is going to differ per location. You might have 25% of your locations did qualify and others did not. So thank you for that. And then the next ask that we have is around the THRP.
I'll click through it, Sarah, because I think there's, I don't know if this is all part of the same one.
Okay, thank you. So this is the data that we have received so far. This is the number of clubs that have reported to us. So again, thank you for all of the participation. And I think those numbers, you know, are probably not a surprise to us based on that. That's where we have our coalitions represented. And then what does, and then this is the listing of the subsidy programs. It's not super easy to see here, but let me just see if I can.
I think the next one might be more.
Yeah. So this was, the first slide was on the federal. Now this is the provincial subsidy programs. This is where we're at so far. Again, so important for us to be able to say that half or less than half of fitness businesses have actually qualified for any of these subsidy programs, because the thinking out there is that, you know, everybody is qualifying. So again, thank you for this data. And so the THRP survey, I know it is a little bit more extensive. And if you're not somebody who qualifies for THRP, yes, I understand that this is a process to go through. However, the reason that we are doing it this way is that we want to have data that is consistent, where everybody is going through the same process to come to a final number, which is what would your THRP subsidy rate actually be? And so this does take a little bit more time. There is a specific Excel spreadsheet that we want you to go through, which I believe was period 22 is what we shared. And again, just for the consistency of everyone using the same numbers, that would allow us to understand where the fitness industry sits. Right now, the THRP program, fitness qualifies at a 40% threshold, a 40% drop in revenue. Again, we are pushing heavily to have that reduced and to have that program extended. So even if you do not qualify for it, you should be more incented to complete this information, because we actually do want you to be qualified for it. And that is what we're pushing for. So yes, this is a little bit more labor intensive. Hopefully you have a bookkeeper, somebody who could potentially help you with doing this. Okay, so we have okay, so it's showing that right now fitness is coming in at about a 30% subsidy rate, which is obviously 10% below what qualifies any of us for THRP. And this is what I have anecdotally been sharing, is that we are in what I call a financially viable state, but just short of THRP. And so we're being left to starve, really, as an industry. And I kind of put it into those words that should we be taking an industry that is financially viable and cutting off their oxygen? I believe that we need a little bit of oxygen to just keep us going for the rest of the COVID flight. So this is really powerful. And I will now pass it over to Carl, our national treasurer, who it's rare, but I will give Carl a huge shout out and thanks. He has been doing incredible work the last couple weeks in putting together provincial coalition budgets, ensuring that every province is financially supported, putting together the process. He is celebrating here because this is such a rare moment, but Carl has just been doing a fabulous job. So thank you, Carl. Over to you.
Thank you so much. And so through this pandemic, we have learned that a couple of things we need to definitely shift our focus on to be successful nationally. And one of the things that we learned is that we definitely need to facilitate change provincially, not just from the federal aspect here and nationally. And so we've learned we need to change things provincially. We've learned that in order to do that, our provincial leads and our provincial members need to be empowered through resources. And so the discussions that we've had recently is that we really want to put some investment provincially, not just nationally, so we can set some targets and some goals provincially and obtain them. And so we've put investment opportunities in the hands of provincial leads that will not only have a big impact on initiatives provincially, but the overall impact and implications of these investments will nationally support our FIC agenda and objectives moving forward. And we believe a lot quicker as well. And so your provincial leads have been given their budgets, and we'll be connecting with you soon to strategize around those budgets. And it was real exciting for me to meet with all the provincial leads on this budget, because at the end of every meeting, I got so excited about the opportunity and potential in these investments going forward in each province. And like, we have a lot of potential that can be untapped through our provinces, but just speaking with the provincial leads, we have so much opportunity and potential to be untapped through our provincial leads and our provincial members. I just saw the excitement in the investments in the provinces and the ideas around where some of these investments can go provincially, and maybe even some relief in the discussions that I had with provincial leads. And so at the end of every call, I was super excited about sort of the direction each province was going to go and the proposals and where these investments are going to be going. And so I wish everyone all the best in their initiatives coming up provincially. We're looking forward to seeing what the results are, and you know, provincially, like I said, your provincial lead will be connecting with you in your province and having discussions around where these investments can and will go to create and facilitate change provincially, but also align with our national objectives in the Fitness Industry Council of Canada. Have a great Friday, everybody.
There's a question there, Carl, about is this for all provinces in Canada? And if I may, it's for all provinces in which we have members. And so, yes, all the provinces that are represented, we are looking to do the same in other provinces, but the dollars are based on membership. And so all the ones that we do have a provincial coalition with a lead, right, Carl?
That's right. Hi, Dana. We haven't chatted in a while. Hello. Yes. And so no, so we a part of our provincial lead initiatives is to as part of our national strategy, expand into what you're suggesting, which is Atlantic Canada. But this association is only as strong as the people who are willing to contribute to it. And so we're beginning to reach out to other provinces throughout Canada where we don't necessarily have the leadership needed to facilitate membership, and that's where we're going. So we'll be in contact with national brands, so multi-province brands, as well as brands within those provinces in the next couple of weeks to establish a leadership core so that we can start expanding within those provinces. Thank you.
Before I pop into that, there were a couple of questions that we can hopefully get to. So one of the questions was from Evelyn about that Evelyn, and I'm sure other members, enjoyed hearing about what's happening in other provinces. And so would we be able to confirm that if there's highlights or changes or something interesting that's done, Sara, that would still be shared as opposed to the traditional like 5 to 10 minutes for every province during the call? Is that correct, Sara?
Yeah, so kind of like hot topics absolutely will be covered. So if there's something really important, again, we got into the groove of sharing, it was all COVID related restrictions and grants and all of that. And hopefully we don't have to focus on that as much, and we can kind of free ourselves to, again, drive the strategy rather than kind of have the tide move our boat in an uncontrolled way, which is how most of us feel like we've had to operate for the last 2 years. So hot topics absolutely will be brought forward and discussed. And let me also think about maybe there's a way for us to send around even just a monthly bulletin of here's what's going on in every province, so you can just put your eyes on it. That might be a really nice thing. And, you know, I would look to anyone who has business across Canada, you know, please give me any feedback on that as to how you would like to receive those. You know, I don't want it to be that people's time has to be going into a bunch of different provincial calls. That's not the intention of it. So could we summarize that for everybody and send it out? And would that be meaningful? For someone like Deanna, does that sound like a reasonable way to do it and a good use of your time?
Exactly. But we get all the updates through the CFA, right? Because we're in franchising. So
yes.
And from our owners. So I kind of know what's going on in every province. I have to know, actually. It's my job to know what's going on. So
and then even just from a fitness perspective though, or you know, things that we're doing with, maybe it's a localized social campaign with the Ministry of Health, or those types of things that are more fitness specific rather than franchise specific. I think a kind of like a monthly bulletin would be nice to send out. So we'll look at that. Thank you.
Okay, I will pop us back into National Health and Fitness Day. So June 4th, everybody grab your agendas, whether they be paper, old school, or modern technological ones. Pop that in there. June 4th is National Health and Fitness Day. And so I love that Trisha put that out there. I appreciate the optimism, let's just call it that, that clubs across Canada will be open for National Health and Fitness Day. We're going to be pulling our committee back together. So for those of you that are board members, or provincial council members, or anybody else really that wants to contribute and participate into this, we would love to focus on that and help develop these things. Last week was Winter Health and Fitness Week. You might have seen on the social media platforms of FIC that we were focusing on that and working with our members as it relates to that. But this is a really great opportunity to highlight what we do. And I'll tie it right back into what Sara mentioned at the beginning. This is a really good opportunity for us to focus on how our facilities and our industry supports the physical and mental health of all Canadians. I know that we're itching to do these, you know, big 800 people doing HIIT kind of workouts. I invite us to consider if there are also things that we can do that are accessible and inclusive of all Canadians, because this is how we will help our brand and our reputation by reaching out to those people that might be able to benefit from us now more than they ever have before. And so we will get back in touch with you for that. If you've got stuff that's already done really well in your clubs and your facilities across your countries, across your provinces, then we can do that. But let's do it. So Paula's asking virtual or and in-person event. My answer to that is yes. Meaning we will do whatever we can do. Probably doing both, Paula, will be something that would be really beneficial, because again, that gets us to everybody. Doing full-fledged both might be a little bit more challenging, but certainly having something that is virtual so that the people that aren't able for whatever reason to get themselves to the locations that are doing in-person events. And so I would answer the same yes question to parks, sure. In club, outdoors, yes. Whatever we can do that makes it as accessible and inclusive as possible to not only our staff, our members, but our communities broader than we ever have before will help people governing decision makers as well as the general population, will support that reputation growth, reputation fix of our industry, which is one of our biggest obstacles and our biggest focus is moving forward into the rest of this year. And so we will get to you guys for that, for ideas in which way that you want to do that. It is a good news story and we could use it. So let's focus our efforts on doing that. We'll be back in touch, but for now, I just wanted you guys to save, circle the date and starting to get your phenomenal creative ideas going from the start. Let me see if there was something else. To get the logo to start our graphics teams on National Health and Fitness Day, we'll put something together. Deanna, thank you for the question. We'll send that over to you as soon as it's done. Figuring out where the websites go and where people register and where the things were one of the challenges of the last couple of years. So we'll get that over to you as soon as possible. So that we can start working on all of that and give you all those deliverables and give you all of that content that you can share. Thank you for the question. We'll make sure to be able to get on that. I think that might have been it. So I will pop us out of here and see if we had any other questions. Before I forget, because we haven't done this, I think, on a national meeting, I think we will welcome back Provincial Council member Samantha Goodman. Hello, Sam. Wave to everybody, Sam. There we go. Sam's got 2 one-year-olds sleeping right now. So shh. Sam's just back from mat leave, like a week and a half ago back from mat leave, and has generously agreed to come back and support us with a lot of the back-end stuff that FIC is working on improving. So thank you and welcome back to our Provincial Council member, Sam. We will see if anybody has any questions or comments or other things. We've got time. It's Friday. Ask or talk about anything else that's come up. No, all right. Well, it's a short one. The sun must be shining where everybody is today. We want to get back out there and do things. Thank you very much. And I'll say a big thank you and bravo to those of you that jumped on to look who's hiring. Again, fixing the labor shortage is one thing that we're working on. And if you're not super comfortable with doing it, find someone in your club that's can do Instagram and it'll take 5 minutes. And it is a nice opportunity for us to let the general population know that we are hiring, that we are a viable industry, that we would love to put it out there. The last one we did was with our friends at Movati. And thank you for Trisha to sharing that out there. So if anybody else wants to hop on, just get in touch with me. 5 minutes on Instagram, 3 questions asked, and we put it throughout the country on all of the things that we do. And I think that's it. Merci les amis. Bonne fin de semaine.
Thanks, everyone.